Yesterday I found the time, and today I think it's time to make it mine and let it fly. Yesterday I found the time to let it fly, let it fly, let it fly.
Okay, welcome to Star Trek, our series where we talk about our favorite show or shows. Tonight's episode is Star Trek 1.4. And Joe, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Voyager.
Is that your favorite show?
It's basically my favorite show.
Joe's favorite show. Enunciate, Joe.
Voyager.
Voyager. So, I tell you what, let's do something fun. I thought of this last night. Let's do a Voyager Part 1 where we do the first 3 seasons, and then Voyager Part 2 where we do the last 4 seasons.
The good ones?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about here.
Okay.
That's right. So, how Voyager get started, Audra?
Voyager started with Captain Janeway, and she was on a mission to get her security officer Tuvok back. He was infiltrating a Maquis cell and was on a ship that disappeared in the Badlands.
Wait, the Maquis. What's the Maquis?
The Maquis. Well, we talked about them in DS9, maybe, but, they were also fighting the Cardassians. They were displaced in the, Cardassian conflict with the Alpha Quadrant.
With the Federation.
Yeah.
So the Federation had a line, and they happened to be on a planet inside the Cardassian line. And the Federation,
all the planets that
the Federation was trying to say, y'all need to leave because it's Cardassian now.
They decided that they were going to fight for their homes.
Yeah, they liked it there.
Yeah, and so they weren't just Bajorans, right? They were people of all different races that were on those planets.
Yeah. They were trying to keep up with the Cardassians, right?
Did he just say that? I'm the one who always mispronounces it.
You're the ones mispronouncing it.
I know.
Well, that's how it starts.
So she's looking for Tuvok.
Yeah.
And
the Maquis.
Right.
And she ends up in the Delta Quadrant by way of what is his name? The
caretaker.
The caretaker.
So she's suddenly and her ship.
And her ship. And whoa, the Maquis and Tuvok are there too.
How's that happen?
Because the caretaker was sending out his alien rays trying to find any being that could help take care of his people, the Ocampa, his little babies.
The Ocampa? Wow.
Yeah,
They're underground species, right?
There you get to a big plot point of the first half of Star Trek Voyager. Kes, the Ocampa, and Neelix, her boyfriend.
So wait a minute. So somehow or another, they're in the Delta Quadrant with some perceived enemies, right? You got
the Kazon?
No, I'm talking about the
Maquis.
Maquis.
Okay, they're in there. Yes, they're stranded with enemies.
So now they got to figure out how to get along, and there's some friction, which is a plot line for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because you got Torres,
B'Elanna,
probably my favorite character, right? And who are the other Maquis on board?
Well, the first officer, Chakotay.
He becomes the first officer.
Okay,
right?
He becomes the first officer of Voyager.
And her best friend. And Catherine Janeway's best friend. Am I right? Would you say that?
I think so. I think they've developed a very good relationship.
I mean, I kept waiting for him to hug up.
Yeah, but
they almost did.
He worked with her very well.
He grew to trust her and believe in her, right, as his captain. There are a time or two where he
questions her ethics and her plans, but that's what you do as a first officer. You question to keep everything in line.
Well, and so once they're all stranded, the two crews have to become one to try to get back. They don't have the resources for both ships. They don't have the people for both ships, so they decide to take the better ship, and they decide to combine crews, but they have to work as a Starfleet crew. So they don't always... That's why I think the Maquis are sometimes like, we didn't sign up to follow these rules. Why do we have to follow them? But they do. They work together.
It took them a minute. And in the Star Trek overall thing, this is the last season of Star Trek Next Generation, right? Is going on when this production starts.
I think so.
And we're into 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine. Is that right? Something like that. So they planted some seeds of the Maquis in the end of Next Generation and in the beginning of Deep Space Nine to kind of keep the timeline right?
Yep.
So
3 series of Star Trek were on at the same time.
and this was on the UPN network. What was the UPN stand for? Was that United Paramount Network or something like
I
that?
don't really know.
They had their own. It was like a weird
I
channel.
remember
in
it.
Memphis.
Write in if you know.
Yeah, jump in the comments because
UPN network.
So we're talking about our favorite show. We want you to help us, learn about it. But so all this is going on, and what's cool about the theory of, and I don't know who came up with the idea of it, let's throw them in a whole new quadrant so we can have new species and new villains and new adventures. It's kind of cool, right? The premise is kind of cool.
And they still do get some, characters to come back. In the first episode, we have Quark. We have Q multiple times in Star Trek Voyager also, a recurring character in Next
They're
Gen
recurring
and
Star Trek.
DS9.
They're recurring Star Trek characters, aren't they? Don't they bleed through all these series?
Some of them do. I mean,
It's the best. I like a good crossover.
We love Quark. We love Q.
so we're going through the folks.
Barkley. Sorry.
Wait, yeah, that's later. Isn't that in the second?
It's probably in this. No, I think he's.
Really?
I think he's in the first
I
half.
kind of like Barkley, but
a
so
good crossover character.
So let's talk about. Let's finish off the crew.
Okay.
So they found Tuvok.
They found Tuvok.
He was a spy for them in the Maquis. He's the science officer.
Security. You were being racist.
He's
Because
security.
he's a Vulcan. Yeah, he's the security officer, the tactical.
Who's the science officer?
I don't think that they have a science officer. Harry Kim is like the one that does the, sciencey
You
stuff.
mean I'm assuming because he's Vulcan, he's the smartest?
Yes.
Well, he probably is the smartest.
Well, also,
because
you're
he's Vulcan.
assuming because he's Vulcan that he's like Spock, who is a science officer.
He is like Spock. He's
Just
Vulcan.
because he's Vulcan.
He's Vulcan.
And Spock's only half Vulcan.
He's only half Vulcan.
Tuvok is fully Vulcan.
No.
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 Yes.
Yes.
He's fully Vulcan.
Y'all have to tell me about it. I don't think it's true.
Comment and tell me I'm right.
So you're right. Okay. So he's really twice as smart as Spock.
Should be.
Yeah,
and
should
as
be.
strong.
And he's a good security officer.
Well, sorry. I just
All right.
had to correct you.
So we got Tuvok in there.
We've got Harry Kim,
We got Harry Kim, who's from Memphis, Tennessee. Did you know that?
the forever ensign.
He went to Harding Academy
No
here in Memphis.
kidding.
Yeah. Harry Kim's from Memphis.
Tom Paris.
Tom Paris, many people's favorite.
They broke him out of jail
Yeah.
to come on this
And
mission.
his father's the admiral
Yeah.
in Starfleet. So, who else am I missing? So, they get into the Delta Quadrant, and who are the 2 new characters they meet?
Cass and Neelix.
Cass and Neelix.
Theo
My
Coppin.
least 2 favorite characters.
The Doctor is a great character. We haven't talked about
We haven't
him.
talked about the Doctor. What's interesting is Robert Picardo, who plays the Doctor, originally auditioned to be Neelix. Did you know that?
Wow.
He auditioned to be Neelix and didn't get it. Ethan Phillips got it. Ethan Phillips, I didn't like Neelix, but he's a great actor.
Great actor.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Still is.
Neelix is fine.
Yeah, you still see him in different things, right? But Robert Picardo was auditioning, and at the end of his audition, he said something like, "What? Damn it, I'm not.
I'm a doctor, not a tricorder.
Or something
not
like that." And they all laughed, and he got the job. And he said that Ethan Phillips getting Neelix saved him 6,000 hours of makeup.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine being in the makeup chair
I
for
mean-
Neelix?
Yeah.
Well, that's Bones' catchphrase, right? That he stole.
That's right.
And he says it every other episode of
Well, it's
Voyager.
very cool. And I just wouldn't think about Star Trek. They all connect, to different things. And it's very cool throughout the whole thing. Let's see, who else have we missed out? We've got the whole cast and crew, right?
Possibly.
But we have some new villains as we meet in the Delta Quadrant. But the whole goal here is to get back home. And they check the star charts, and they're only like
70,000 light years from home.
Yeah.
Which is going to take 70 years.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And that's pretty frustrating.
They think it's going to be a multi-generational ship. They don't think it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, they're all the time looking for a shortcut. black hole here, black hole there.
Wormhole.
And they do.
Wormhole.
They get like 10,000 light years and like 5 and 20. You know, I feel like here and there.
Yeah, they make a couple jumps. But it's so funny. It's like Gilligan's Island in a way. If you ever watch that, every Gilligan's Island show, there was some kind of harebrained scheme to get back, right? And it just almost worked.
Didn't quite make it.
Almost
Never worked.
Remember the robot that worked underneath the ocean on the ocean floor all the way back to? Yeah, I'm an old guy, right? I saw Gilligan's Island. Okay, so we're back in the first 3 seasons of Star Trek Voyager, which was a great show, and it was the first show that had a female captain.
And she was pretty great.
But she wasn't the original actress, right?
No.
Who was the original? Joe, remember?
For the pilots?
Yeah.
What was her name?
Genevieve Bujold,
Something like that.
right?
Yeah. You can see that footage on YouTube, but it's not good. You can tell why they replaced her.
But she was a movie actress. She was not a TV
I
person.
think she just didn't fit in there. Well, I don't think she had it in her to become a Star Trek captain.
Very soft spoken in the the footage that I saw.
Yeah.
Whereas Janeway, she takes command.
Right, which is what we needed. I mean, she was a great captain. I don't know where I'd rank her in the list of captains.
One of the best.
Where do you rank her?
One of the best.
No, it's not really a ranking.
But you know how many captains are there? I mean,
That's not really a ranking.
She's right after Cisco, who's probably number 1.
Cisco's your number 1? Who's your number 1?
He's the best captain.
well, I like Picard. Yeah, I'm a Picard guy.
Wow.
Who's your
Wow.
favorite captain? Cisco's your favorite.
Well, I got to tell you, and I know, yeah, Cisco's always been my favorite, but I'm going to tell you, Discovery is turning me, man.
Bruno is great.
Discovery is turning me. It's just, this is a great season. Well, okay, we're not even there.
If it's
Watch
not
Discovery
finished,
if it's
you know,
on.
that's the only reason she wasn't considered in my rankings. Disco's still going on
It's
right
still
now.
going on. Wow.
Tune in to watch Star Trek Discovery. The final season's on right now.
Every Thursday night. It's great. The final season is the best. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a Cisco guy, and then probably Picard, and then
Janeway's after Cisco.
listen, I'm not going to let Captain Kirk get out of the conversation, because Captain Kirk, particularly in these latest movies, he's been pretty great
Captain Kirk?
in the movies.
Oh, so you're talking like Chris Pine.
I'm just
like Kelvin. We'll talk about that later.
yeah, we're getting way across the
So,
movies.
what are some of your other favorite things about Voyager? You know, it's not just Janeway that makes it a strong female cast. Cass is a female character.
Yeah.
B'Elanna Torres is a very strong female character.
Is there a stronger
She's the
character
chief of
than
engineering.
B'Elanna?
No.
She's half Klingon, right?
Yeah,
She's
I
half
mean, that
Klingon.
Klingon comes out in her, and just a tough side. She's very tough.
I mean,
Kapla.
y'all are
She's
gonna-
not that kind of Klingon.
Joe, you're going to think the later character in Voyager is more attractive, but no one touches B'Elanna Torres to me. I thought she was fantastic.
Roxanne Dawson.
She had everything that I would ever want. I mean, she was strong and smart and independent, and just, man, she had attitude, right?
She did.
Yeah, she was great. I agree with you totally. I love B'Elanna. Let's see, what else happened the first 3 seasons that's interesting, that's new? I mean, let's talk about the Doctor just for a second. So the Doctor is sort of the second computer main character, with Data being, or is it Data? Data?
It's Data.
Data?
Data.
With Data being the first,
Don't be a Pulaski.
I was just joking. With tomato. Yeah, that's right. It's Dr. Pulaski. Okay, we're way off the base again. So they were concerned that people would compare him with Data, you know, and so the Doctor had to kind of create his own ambiance, right? And I just thought he did great. I mean, he was in the first 3 seasons when he found an escape from sickbay? Was mobile.
The mobile emitter.
I mean,
Where he could go different places.
where he could travel,
Yeah.
which was very cool. Nobody thought of that. Great idea. I like
In the
that one of
future.
those. I like that one of those myself. So every episode, there's 2 things. They're trying to get home, but there always seems to be something interesting or something they need. Oh, we're getting low on potatoes.
Someone
This planet
needs
over here
help.
looks like it has potatoes, right? There's a ship in trouble, or
Yeah.
fake in trouble, or, you know, I mean,
Or there's an aggressive ship, right? There's definitely some fights and stuff that happen, and they've got some enemies that they have, like the Kazon recurring enemies.
What about, was it the halogen?
Hirogen.
Hirogen.
Yeah.
I was very close to that.
Sorry.
And species 8472?
And the Borg, as we get to the very end of this episode.
But is that in the first 3 seasons?
Well, technically, I mean, Kes and...
Oh, you're right.
It's a whole season
of
crossover.
Right. You're exactly right. Very interesting. If you're into the Borg.
I'm just saying, they've got some good villains. It's not just one-offs, you know. I think that a lot of people like a continuing storyline and like to binge something, especially these days. And you can do that with Voyager. You know, you'll have some one-offs, some cool holodeck episodes, but you'll have some, you know, people that come back over and over again. You're like, why can't we defeat them?
What is your biggest fear cruising through the Delta Quadrant? We might run into some Borg. That's pretty much all the time. If we're in the Borg, we're in trouble.
That was until they found species 8472 or whatever.
They were pretty mean.
They were some badasses. The Borg were scared of them, you know?
Yeah, if you scare the Borg, you got something going on there, right? You want to avoid those guys. But yeah, so we'll have an episode where we talk about the best villains of all time, but they've got to be right up there. I mean...
And they weren't really a villain.
You're spoiling it.
I know, I'm just saying.
You're spoiling for some people.
I wouldn't put them on a villain list.
Would you not?
But I wouldn't want to fight them.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a good point. They're not a villain, but I don't want to fight you. Okay.
You know, we have a lot of like conflict, I feel like, in the beginning too, with how they're navigating the Prime Directive. Because in the very first episode, Janeway beats herself up after the first episode forever because she decided to not use the caretaker to get home, but to destroy him so that no one could hurt the Ocampans or whatever. So we do a lot of that. She's like trying to follow the Prime Directive, but she's trying to get her crew home, and you know.
She really follows the first contact rule too. The first contact is, you know, about just learning who we found.
Yeah, and not contacting people that don't have warp drive.
Don't let them have any effect from us that increases their future.
Yeah, she won't trade their technology. This was a great episode, I think.
You make it sound like she's a great captain.
Well, she's pretty good.
Yeah. So they go through 3 seasons of it, and they're still on the way back. So the next episode, we're going to talk about the final 4 seasons of Star Trek Voyager, right?
Sounds good.
The final 4.
It's exciting.
It's like the NCAA.
That's where we really get to talk about the Borg.
Yeah. So, but the great thing about it is you can binge this stuff and it's a continuing story, but the episodes oftentimes stand on their own. You know, it's not like, I mean, Deep Space Nine is more episodic, I think, more of a series, whereas this, a lot of the episodes stand on their own. So if you just tune in an episode, you'll understand. But starting from the get-go, it's great. Are you watching the series now?
I am.
How many times have you watched it?
I watch it roughly once a year.
You're a goofball. Joe, how many times you watch the series?
I've watched it several times, but, you know, that's a lot to keep up with still.
It's my comfort show.
Yeah.
It is a comfort show.
I rotate between that and Deep Space Nine.
You were born into it. You were born into Voyager. You were a kid. Okay. Well, I mean, I've enjoyed talking about the first 3 seasons of Voyager. It's fantastic. If y'all have any comments, please subscribe to our channel. We'll have more episodes. We also do a Leonard Skinner show. It's our favorite band. So it's our favorite band, our favorite TV show. Tune in, see more.
We're either building a band or building a crew.
Yeah. We're traveling, right? We're traveling. Okay. Anything else, Audra?
No, I'm excited for the next episode.
Can't wait, Joe.
We're already wound up for it.
We're already wound up, so we may just turn it off and turn it back on again. So until next time, we'll see you guys here on the Star Trek channel.
It's us.